Good morning, everyone. Welcome to those of you in Fellowship Hall this morning on this lovely Sunday morning. And welcome to those of you at home who are joining us from the comfort of wherever you are. We're glad you're all here today as part of this incredible community. This morning, we acknowledge that May 1st is World Laughter Day. That even in the midst of hardship, sorrow, and pain, in order to sustain our approach to living, to being activists, to supporting those we love and those that we don't know, we need to be able to find a sense of humor now and then, just to ease our way to sustain our work together. This morning, I also want to acknowledge the beautiful flowers in Fellowship Hall who were donated to the fellowship by the family of Joanna Courteau. We had her memorial service here yesterday. And thank you to the wonderful team put together by Rilla Fox and the Caring Network to provide an incredible reception following the service, and all of the volunteers who worked many hours to provide a really meaningful celebration of life. It's one of those things that this fellowship does well that I'm so proud to be a part of. So thank you to everyone involved. Oh, I left one important person out. I want to call out and really thank Bradley. I can't do my job without his support. And we're not going to do this on a regular basis, but Bradley did the sound and the camera board all by himself yesterday. So that's a two-person job. So he really can be in more than one place at the time, but don't tell. Anyway, welcome. For those visiting, I'm Kent McCusick, the minister serving this fellowship. My pronouns are he and him. It's good to be with you this morning. Our board welcome this morning is by Nicole Olson.
Good morning and welcome. My name is Nicole Olson and I serve on your fellowship board of directors. I want to thank you all for being here today and extend a special welcome to any visitors. Please stay on after the service for our virtual coffee hour where you can introduce yourself if you're comfortable and join in on the conversation. If you would like more information about the fellowship, please sign our virtual guest book at uufames.org/guestbook. The new CDC COVID-19 community guidelines currently rate Story County in the low green level, which means that the fellowship has again reopened to in-person gathering. Masks are still required, and for now we are not singing or serving coffee and refreshments. Childcare is also currently not available. In line with these guidelines, we look forward to seeing you at the fellowship or on Zoom if you prefer. We greatly appreciate all you continue to do in keeping this community healthy and safe. Please continue to wear masks, stay home if you do not feel well, be mindful of others' comfort with social distancing, be vaccinated, and get those boosters when appropriate. These measures have kept our beloved community safe, and now we are glad to be together again. So, on behalf of this caring, nurturing congregation, I welcome each and every one of you to this sacred space. Here we invite you into an experience of transformation, hope, renewal, and connection, which may inspire you to understand life in new ways. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for coming today. Before we begin, there are a few announcements. Flash photography is not allowed at any time. Also, there is no recording of any kind allowed. This includes both audio and video recording, as well as sketching, journaling, documenting, making mental notes, reminiscing, reviewing, or remembering anything at all with your mind. Any recording devices that we find will be taken away from you and juggled recklessly. You are not permitted to lip sync any portion of today's service. If you do, and we catch you, one or both of your lips may be removed from the building. In the event of fire, please use fire exits. It is illegal to say fire in a crowded sanctuary, so if there's a fire, please yell something instead like flames or smoke maker or bad hot. Fighting is not allowed at any time. If you have a problem with someone, please see one of our blow dart vendors. If someone is making too much noise, do not say shh unless you want to be squirted with a hose. Please keep the number of woo to 2 or fewer per person. If you exceed this number, which our who counters will be watching for, you will receive an electric shock of memorable force. Goatees are not allowed under any circumstances. If you have a goatee, then you need to see one of our speed barbers immediately. If you have a goatee and a ponytail, you should just leave now. There is a significant risk that you will be hit with a tambourine at some point in the service. Also, the person seated in the 4th row, 2, 3, 4, and the 4th seat in the 7th row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Oh, hi, Dave. Will be catapulted later into a small hammock, which will be hanging at the back of the room. Enjoy. By entering today, you consent to being filmed, recorded, taped up, watched, studied, and smelled. You also consent to having your image duplicated, stretched, plastered, marked, mimicked, misrepresented, and printed on any promotional materials, included but not limited to t-shirts, silly aprons, propaganda posters, and other commemorative articles of clothing, which will be on sale next week. Finally, do not fall asleep. If you yawn, a small marble or small pellet may be carefully tossed into your mouth. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And if you don't, then be prepared to suffer the consequences. On with the service. For any latecomers, these are words written by Demetri Martin. Each week, after silly announcements, we begin our service with the ringing of the chime 4 times. 3 times. Maybe we'll do 4 today. Once to wake the chime, once to open our minds, and once to open our hearts.
In the world of the driven, let us be drawn in. Let your love be a given, let us be drawn in. To imagine, to dream, to create, to redeem, for the sake of the living, let us be drawn in.
Here's the fourth chime, wherever you need it to be. We come together every week, bound not by creed or a mutual desire to please God or many gods. Yet we are drawn together by a belief that how we are in the world, who we are together, matters. We light this chalice together in the knowledge that love, not fear, can change this world. Our prelude this morning is The Dying Swan, with music by Kalama Saint Sayens, and the dancer is Ida Neva Say Neva.
LA Trocadero. Good morning, I'm Kitty Fisher.
It's not quite done yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Haven't done this for a couple years. I'm a little anxious here. So I'm reading a reading called Beginnings by the playwright Jane Martin. So invariably, I'm better at the start, at the beginning, or so I am, generally told that that I am at the beginning of I guess almost anything. Affairs, jobs, absolutely on jobs. Trips, always better the first hour on trips. Hors d'oeuvres, never was anything after the hors d'oeuvres. It's I guess it's a pattern. They usually tell me. So, see, at the beginning, I never ever seem to know what it all seems very full of possibilities, very romantic, and then when I am still thinking that, I find out I'm in the middle. Well, for me, the middle is, I experience flight syndrome, middle panic, middle muddle. And characteristically, the middle seems pointless. And of course, no one likes being around someone feeling pointless. So actually, it's the end. But strangely enough, the end, I don't mind the end because, the end is that much closer to the beginning. So I'm terrifically relieved, really, because I know I'll shine at the beginning, which makes me more fun at the end. Sort of. So honestly, to be fair, I try to, warn people that the beginning is in a way, the end. But it doesn't help because, and this is the bad part. I'm usually attracted to linear thinkers who like to move forward. So we never stay at the beginning. So it doesn't work out.
The man credited with developing laughing yoga and laughing clubs in India is Dr. Madan Katara. This part's not a joke. This is real. He tells people to fake it until you make it. Until, according to Dr. Katara, the body does not recognize between authentic, spontaneous laughter and laughter that is an exercise. More importantly, in a group setting, going through the motions with other people more often than not results in authentic and contagious laughter. So, welcome to Laughter School. Since it's an exercise, we're going to do some warm-ups together to get our right brain going and overcome the more critical and logical left brain voice in each of us. If you ever have worry or stress repeating itself over and over and over in your head, that's your left brain taking charge. And we're going to go to the other side. It's one of the few times as Unitarian Universalists that we go to the right. I invite you to stand as you are willing and able. If you're recovering from an injury, please stay seated, or if movement is uncomfortable, please stay seated. Now, breathe in and lift your arms, holding it for a second, and then as we let it out, we're going to laugh gently. One more. Breathe in. One more. Okay. Very good. We're going to come back to very good too. Now let's do some rhythmic clapping together. And whenever we're going to stop or shift to the next exercise, we'll say, very good, yeah. Now say that with me now. Very good, yeah. Okay. First one. Just join me when you're ready. Very good, yeah! Okay, 1, 2, say it with me. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Very good, yeah! Okay. Ha, ha, ho, ho, ho. Ha, ha, ho, ho, ho. Ha, ha, ho, ho, ho. Very good, yeah! Are you getting this at home? I can't hear you. I expect you to be laughing along with us because they look very silly. Okay. I'm going to do one exercise. Before we do this, who's brave enough to be a volunteer this morning? One person. Come on up. We've got 2 volunteers. Both of you come up. We'll do both. There's 3 parts to this. Yeah, come right up here. You don't need to speak, so you can come over here in front of the chalice table. Be careful to not set yourself on fire. If you do, I have a fire extinguisher under the pulpit. So, what?
Not supposed to say fire.
Oh, well said. Be mindful of bad hot. Thank you, Rilla. So, the first part is one of you can go, my name is, and then we're going to laugh.
My name is.
But you have to say your name.
Oh, my name is Larry.
My name is Robin.
I live in.
I live in Ames.
I live in Ames.
Oh no! I am a.
I am a person.
Yeah!
I am a librarian.
Oh! My name is Kent. Oh! I live in West Ames. Oh, and I'm a minister. Ha ha ho ho ho. Ha ha ho ho ho. Ha ha ho ho ho. Very good, yeah. Thank you. Let's laugh our volunteers off the stage. Okay. Now, one more. Now, this is silent laughing yoga, where we're going to look around and point each other, and then we're going to laugh silently. So look around and point at each other, and now laugh silently. I heard that. Very good, yeah. Now, our last one this morning. No. Sarah thought it was the last one, but I have a surprise for her. Because this is our very favorite. This is milkshake yoga. Okay. You have milk and shake in each hand, and we've got to mix them up so that we have the flavor, and then we're going to drink it. So we'll do this twice, so you can just follow me. We're going to make sounds, but we're going to go, whoa, whoa. Now we're going to drink it. Whoa. Ha ha ho ho ho, ha ha ho ho ho. Very good, yeah. You did that so well, we don't need to do it twice. Thank you. Please be seated. And let's take some slow breaths together and release them with a gentle laugh or simply a smile if you wish. Breathe deep. One more. Thank you. The Community Academy continues to be our offering recipient through the month of May. Although they have made the very recent decision to set aside plans to open a micro school this fall, the Community Academy will continue to pursue the goal of providing innovative learning opportunities to a diverse group of children. The new plans are to offer the same types of nature and community-based educational experiences, but on a smaller scale, after school, weekends, and possibly during breaks. This will give many more families a chance to sample the values of a new approach to learning and crafting and creating relationships. We have this message from Mike Todd.
The Community Academy Board of Directors and staff have worked for years to accomplish our mission of more nature, more authentic, and more community for youth education in Ames. Recently, we undertook the opening of a micro school in the fall of 2022. And our board of directors met recently and looked at our final applicant numbers, the need of each of those families, and the amount of financial assistance that we've raised from our community to this point, and determined that it's not going to be financially stable to open that model and that vision. The Community Academy Board of Directors and staff are working over the next month and a half to identify smaller steps that we can take towards the greater vision of a micro school someday. That'll likely entail year-round programming, so things after school, in the evenings, on weekends, during the summer. Thank you for all your support over the years. It's made a big difference in the lives of kids. I hope you'll continue to support the Community Academy in our efforts to meet the needs of youth with more nature, more authentic experiences, and more community-based experiences.
Thank you, Mike, and thank you for the opportunities that this programming will still provide to children and families in our community. If you wish to make an offering gift to the Community Academy after the service, please go to our website, look for the Giving tab, and thank you for your generosity in supporting the Community Academy. If you'd like to give a gift here today, we do have a basket over by the door, which you're welcome to make a donation by check or cash there this morning. Each week, we take time in our service to share milestones, significant happenings in our lives that are bringing us joy or challenge or gratitude. We do this in two parts. The first part is for those in Fellowship Hall, and the second part is for those of you joining us from home. In Fellowship Hall, if you'd like to share a milestone this morning, please go to the microphone in the front. You can lower your mask to share your milestone, introduce yourself, share your milestone, and I'll light a candle for you. This is our time for sharing.
Good morning, everyone. As you know, I'm Bradley. I'm the office guy. And I just wanted to thank everyone for all of your messages of support, phone calls, cards, you name it, after my mom's passing about a month ago. It's been very meaningful to be here on Sundays and to be a part of the community. during a time when it's still very isolated. And I just appreciate all of your support very much. Thank you.
I want to light a candle for our board and for the search committee who will be finding out who possibly could be our interim minister in the next few days. So think good things, and however you pray, if you pray a you prayer or message of peace and support to your leadership is welcome. Also, just saying thank you is a really good way of giving them support. As we'll go now through the process of shifting, and for those of you at home, watch your chat messages as you'll receive a chat when the technology is ready for you to share. And for those of you here, this is when we breathe deeply. The last candle is reserved for those milestones that we carry in our hearts and choose to not say aloud in community. Whatever brought you here today to Fellowship Hall, or whatever brought you here to join us from your homes, whatever you carry in your hearts and minds, know that in this loving community, no one ever needs to make the journey alone, and that you are loved. Let's be together in a moment of silence. It's good to be together. This morning, we have paused to allow ourselves to laugh, to invite each other into moments of joyfulness, to create a sense of balance in a troubled world. There's so much pain in the world, especially in Ukraine. So this morning, I want to share two pieces to add to the balance of living in this world. The first is a poem by a 16-year-old Ukrainian girl named Victoria Ponkrashkina. This is her poem. I thought it was a dream, but it happened to be real. The torture of the war and overwhelming fear. I want it all to go away, diffuse in the shining sun, and troubles blown from our day by friendly clouds. So far, I want people out of cellars, living to the full, not afraid of their jailers, sleeping soundly. I want to throw away all the pieces from the puzzle of this cruel world, war. I want to throw away all the pieces from the puzzle of this cruel war, so children won't play with them. I want everyone to be happy and smile. I believe in a happy Ukraine and the new life beginning today. I believe we can forget about war. It will be swept away from the shore. So we'll also pause to remember happier days in Ukraine and also the Ukrainian spirit from a dance from 2018, before the war, called Flame Tap, Ukrainian Spirit, by 2 Ukrainian women in Ukraine. Always be alive, and may they soon be able to put down the elements of war and dance joyfully together in public. There are multiple versions of the story of the Laughing Buddha, and most begin in Japan and China. In Japan, we find the legend of an enlightened mystic, a large man with a big belly who traveled from village to village in 16th century. His name was Hotai. His mission was to spread happiness and joy wherever he went. An earlier similar character with the same mission is found in 10th century China, where the Laughing Buddha was known as Budai or Putai. It is interesting that Putai literally translates to cloth sack. The images of the bald, round-bellied, laughing Buddha often depict him as carrying a cloth bag and laughing. Many people, especially children, would surround Putai because he was famous for handing out candy and toys from the cloth bag that he carried. After everyone received a gift or candy, he would put the bag down, stare up at the sky, and laugh madly. His laughter proved to be very contagious indeed, and before long, all who had gathered around him would start to laugh as well. The people would forget their problems, even if just for a moment they laughed hard. People's whole beings felt lighter, as if burdens had been lifted. With Hotai, they laughed for no reason at all, and yet everyone was nourished and cleansed by the laughter and felt a deep sense of well-being. Something from the unknowable depth started ringing in people's hearts, and then he would pick up the bag and journey to the next village or town. And that was his way of spreading happiness and enlightenment. Meditation master Pragato Dove writes, Hotai had no philosophy, scriptures, dogma, theories, ideologies, or concepts to preach. He wanted everyone to experience the joy that laughter brings. This kind of meditation is not something that can be talked about. It must be experienced. In one version of the legend of the laughing Buddha, he has the final laugh, even in death. While cremation was not the standard practice in the culture, Putai asked that his body be burned immediately after death. His wishes were granted, and his friends were unprepared for the surprise that Putai had packed his pockets and clothing with firecrackers and rockets as the end of his life was in sight. His legends speak to the power and importance of laughter in our lives. In the memorial service for Joanna yesterday, yes, there was sadness, but there was also deep laughter of love. Putai was a man of few words and much laughter. The sense of well-being coming from that laughter that was known in ancient China and Japan is scientifically supported in our understanding of how laughter produces hormones and enzymes in the body that make us feel better physically, emotionally, and spiritually. How many laughing Buddhas have you experienced in life? There have been many in my life, even though I didn't know them as laughing Buddhas until well after their presence passed. I remember the infectious laughing of my cousins when we were growing up. From our earliest years to our teen years, we played Funny Face, a game without words where one person would make a face while the rest tried to keep from laughing. Whoever laughed first became the next face maker. But before that happened, we all laughed uproariously together. It was contagious, and even though the adults were down one floor below, when we were up on the second floor, we were yet regularly yelled at for being too loud, that the adults couldn't hear each other. So we might have engaged in silent laughing yoga, but only for 5 minutes. And the years that I lived in the woods, the year-round residents had weekly winter potlucks. Besides the food, the gatherings centered on stories of the week's activities and tales of how we got to where we were at that moment. And usually the stories were filled with laughter and held us in community, or that helped us, or several of us, smile through a difficult time, a break from the challenges of the day or a lifetime. Even if you didn't feel like being with people, and sometimes I didn't, or even if you didn't feel like smiling, and sometimes I didn't, I knew that if I didn't show up, someone would come and get me, because that's what laughing Buddhas do. We didn't have cell phones then. Many didn't have landlines. And if someone didn't show up, a car, a truck, a snowmobile, or a cross-country skier would show up the door, not to ask why you weren't there, but to say, come on now. We need you to be with us. We need to say that more often in this community. Come on now. We need you to be with us. And even when one of us didn't feel like smiling or laughing, we could get there with the lifting and laughing of the rest of the group. We didn't call it laughing yoga, but that's what it was. And it made a difference. Laughter has the capacity to increase trust and community. The reading that Kitty offered this morning comes from a play called Vital Signs by Jane Martin. Martin's style of writing has eyes and ears for the texture of everyday life. And for those of you unfamiliar with Martin's work, there's another joke in the works. No one except Jane Martin knows who Jane Martin is. Her name is a pseudonym for an unnamed writer or writers who, however gendered, speak to women's frustrations in a male-dominated society using dark humor that explores social issues with insight and compassion. I hope someday we know who Jane Martin is. If you haven't read any of her plays, please, they're fun reads. Like Vital Signs is a series of monologues and dyads, and you can read a little piece in just a minute or two. And they're quite wonderful. Whether we engage in humor as a communication tool, as performance, or as an observer, we have the ability to practice being more deeply engaged with life through laughter. This deepening engagement with life means that we can think of laughter and humor as a spiritual practice. According to Richard Olson in Laughter in a Time of Turmoil, humor as a spiritual practice offers many gifts: inner growth, hopefulness during times of sadness, the possibility of seeing an issue from more than one perspective, stronger relationships, breathing space in the midst of tension or conflict, an outlet for frustration, a means to soften our way to a path of reconciliation, an invitation to the possibility of forgiveness, and joy in faith, service, and ministry. In these very challenging times, I encourage you, remember to breathe. Remember to laugh. Remember to live. Ha, ha, ho, ho, ho. 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 Very good, very good. Yeah. Amen, and blessed be. The closing song today is I Am the Very Model of a Modern Unitarian.
I am the very model of a modern Unitarian, far broader than a Catholic, Hindu, Jew, or Presbyterian. I know the world's religions and can trace their roots historical, from Moses up to Channing, all in order categorical. I'm very well acquainted too with theories theological. On existential questions I am always wholly logical. About most any problem I am teeming with a lot of views. I'm full of fine ideas that should fill our church's empty pews.
We're full of fine ideas that should fill our church's empty pews. We're full of fine ideas that should fill our church's empty pews. We're full of fine ideas that should fill our church's empty pews.
I quote from Freud and Jung and all the experts psychological. I'm anti-nuke, I don't pollute, I'm chastely ecological. In short, in matter spiritual, ethical, material, I am the very model of a modern Unitarian.
In short, in matter spiritual, ethical, material, we are the very model of a modern Unitarian.
I use the latest language, God is never Father or the Lord, but ground of being, source of life, or almost any other word. I never pray, I meditate, I'm leery about worshiping. I serve on 10 committees, none of which accomplish anything. I give to worthy causes and I drive a gas-conserving car. I have good UU principles, although I'm not sure what they are. I'm open to opinions of profound or broad variety, unless they're too conservative or smack of righteous piety.
Unless they're too conservative or smack of righteous piety. Unless they're too conservative or smack of righteous piety. Unless they're too conservative or smack of righteous piety.
I formulate agendas and discuss them with the best of them, but don't ask me to implement, we leave that to the rest of them. In short, in matter spiritual, ethical, material, I am the very model of today's religious liberal.
In short, in matter spiritual, ethical, material, we are the very model of today's religious liberal.
The words move very fast in that, so we'll be sure and have a link in the weekly email next Friday. And if I can find a copy of the lyrics, I will print them in the email so that you can see them. They're really quite clever by Reverend Chris Rabel. And you're all models of Unitarianism in our own ways. Our closing words today are by Reverend Celia Midgley. Just as one small flame fills a whole room with light, so may we radiate hope, courage, and good cheer in our homes, in our services together on Sunday, in all the corners of our world. Thank you for being with us this morning, and thank you for your generosity as you go to the UUFA website and the Giving tab for our monthly recipient, the Community Academy, and for other initiatives that are important to this congregation. I would add this week in Cheatfalva, which is where Reverend Leos lives, which is right next door to Tordatfalva, they celebrated Leos and Tunde of having been there for 23 years. So they're replacing the steeple in Cheatfalva. It's quite an amazing, I'll see if I can pull those pictures off to show them to you. This morning, I have a special postlude, which you're welcome to stay and listen to and enjoy. It's one of my a favorite piece from my teenage years by Leroy Anderson, the typewriter. typing on a manual typewriter. We made it. Thank you for being with us today.